flesh is all that we can know. Those are the words of John Mansfield. It's the first line of a hymn in our hymnal. Thank God it's Advent and we can remember that we are bodies. We can breach the long and ridiculous man-made gap between the spiritual and the physically human, thank God, and get real about the fact that whatever things are holy, whatever things are divine, whatever promptings we have from any other transcendent dimensions, come through us as embodied critters. Embodied. As Jesus, the godly man, was born to young Miriam, as his cousin John, known to us as John the Baptist, was born to postmenopausal Elizabeth and her elderly husband Zechariah. I love that detail. The way that these sacred narratives, which appear not just in the Christian scriptures, but are foundational in the Hebrew scriptures as well, show that God is capable of bringing new life even into aging bodies. Alleluia. It highlights the fact that the season of Advent isn't just about babies and young mothers. It's about every body. About how the holy can be known and birthed and experienced through our bodies. What else do we have? What else have we got, really, to enact our faith that love is possible, that love is an inextinguishable element of ultimate reality, if not our bodies? The other day I was in line at the CVS pharmacy in Vinton Square, and you know there's always a line at that pharmacy. There was a woman there with an elderly woman that I assumed was her mom. She was helping this woman with her prescription order and asking her things, daughterly questions like, Mom, do we need to go grocery shopping later? The mom for me was implied. I assumed it was her mother. But when the elderly woman walked away for a minute to talk to the pharmacist, the woman sighed and said, bless her heart. And I said, you're being a great kid. I bet she really appreciates you. Well, as it turns out, that elderly woman was not her mother at all. It wasn't her mother, it was her neighbor. And I said, God, you're really amazing to help her so much. And there was another woman also standing around, oh, you're so good, standing there in her puffer coat, smelling strongly of cigarettes and booze. The woman said, I can't help it. Her kids all live in California, and I'd feel so guilty if I didn't do all this for her. And I thought, my God, we're complicated, broken vessels through which love tries to get born every day. If guilt gets you there, hey, right? There's that old cliche that God has no hands but ours, and that's what this looks like in real time, in real life. When love works through us, it isn't going to come out pure and not always clear. We don't always answer that call to love perfectly. I thought to myself, Lord, she's doing this wonderful thing, and I hope she's not driving under the influence. We are messy. Only angels are pure. Human agents of divine love are much, much more of a mess usually. Spirituality, such a pure word. And our actual lives are anything but. That's what incarnation is about. Every instinct that we have that is holy, that is loving, that is compassionate, that is divine and generous and good, all of it has to work its way through minds that are busy and preoccupied, bones that are tired at the end of the day and don't want to be pushed to do more, guts that are scared and prone to anxiety and holding on to old traumas and pain, bodies that are running out of time and destined for a long sleep in the ground. I loved that reading by Madeleine L'Engle that frames everything that we feel called to do as a work of art. Yes, let us be obedient to the work of art that wants to be born through us, which in the case of a church is the work of love, is mission that helps people, as the children said, so that they feel important too. Wow, do they get it? The mission, the wider mission of a healthy, inclusive community. I love Langel's phrase, the artist is a servant who is willing to be a birth giver. It's exactly the right way to look at the mission and ministries of the church, that we are enfleshing and embodying what we feel to be most true and right in the world and most holy, to enflesh it in real ways. But birthing is painful. It is bloody. It is sacrificial. Let's go to the story that launches the Christmas season. The one where the angel Gabriel visits a teenage Jewish girl and says, "Be not afraid. I need to tell you, you're going to give birth to the Messiah, the anointed of God, the Savior," that's what the job description of a Messiah is. And Mary would have known that. Being a Jewish girl, Mary would have known those details. The Messiah was a Jewish concept. It appears many times in the Hebrew Scriptures. It's a complicated concept, but one of my favorite translations is kinsman redeemer. You're going to give birth to the kinsman redeemer of humanity. Mary is startled, to say the least. She's unmarried. She says she hasn't been sexually active. This is a major imposition or an honor. It might be both. And I want to stop right there for a minute, because if you think about the times in your own life that you have felt a strong sense of calling, a stirring of holy obligation, a profound sense of necessity to serve a greater reality, you know it's both an imposition and an honor. The 19th century Universalist minister Olympia Brown put it so stirringly when she cautioned those of us who feel called by the demands of our faith. She said, "Do not demand immediate results, but rejoice that we are entrusted with this great message. You are strong enough to work for a great true principle without counting the cost." Let's remember that at budget time. I see some board members nodding like we're dealing with that. Right now in this church, we are struggling to birth a calling to serve the residents of the city of Lynn in a way that undergirds their lives with more support, and that shows up for their lives so they can get out from under some burden, under too much burden in some way. We don't know what will be born yet. No angel has yet appeared through the wall of any of our board meetings, crashed through the fellowship room from the courtyard saying, "Be not afraid, here's what the deal is. You're going to make this specific thing happen." I wonder how we would react if that did happen. That's actually a really funny thought. We might argue and argue a little bit with the angel the way Mary did, like, I don't know. We would most likely take the angel's message as a suggestion and discuss it and put it to a vote. And we put it in the minutes. That's how we work. Thank you, angel. Moment to moment, what I'm telling you, in small ways and in significant ones that will have a lasting impact, God is trying to be born through any one of us. It is not pretty. It is not an easy birth. I'm very taken by the way that artists have interpreted the moment of the angel Gabriel's visitation of Mary, called the Annunciation, because I think that they reflect the ways that any of us might react when we are startled by the deeper calling of life. And as it turns out, Trudy Olivetti is completely obsessed with images of the Annunciation as well, and came to church this morning with this thick binder of images by dozens of artists depicting this event. So, I'm so glad you're there. So here's one. It's called Blessed Art Thou Among Women. It's an 1895 Russian artist, Mikhail Vasilyevich Nestorov. Now this is the calling that is harmonious and gives you some space. The angel and Mary, you'll notice, are matchy-matchy. His wings, her tunic and mantle. She's in a very natural location. The greenery over her head grounds her in earth. Notice they're of equal stature. She holds the book that she's been reading, representing in tradition her reading of the prophets, but also just learning. She's literate. Not really, in the actual Mary wouldn't have been, but she is in tradition. She has a relaxed stance, notice. Yeah, I'm good, I got this. The angel's really fierce and focused. He's holding the lily of peace. Notice the embroidered border between the two of them. Beautiful, but a beautiful boundary that clearly delineates that the angel isn't intruding too much on her reality. She maintains her agency and her groundedness. And this to me is the ideal experience of the inbreaking of the holy calling into one's life. I'm good, I'm grounded, I got my space. Now here is Fra Angelico. Oh no, it's not. And this is a contemporary image. Let me see if I can find Angelico. Oh, he was earlier. There it is. Early medieval, very austere, the setting. The angel is really careful, bowing down, trying not to freak her out, but she's freaked out. The arms over the chest pose that they're doing mirror each other. It's a little protective though. It's like respect and blessing, but not really connecting, both very contained. She's not fully consenting. She looks a little rattled to me. Look at his wings, those stunning, stunning wings. The vision is so beautiful. And notice that the color, the rich, saturated blue of her garment is reflected and picked up in his multicolored wings. Now this contemporary image, I was unable to find the name of the artist. Trudy, you recognize that one? Well, it's a schoolgirl. The little Buster Browns, or what do you call those little shoes? The little saddle shoes, right? She's interrupted in her reading, and wow, there it is, real life, contemporary. It brings it kind of home to our own time. Some artists, like this one, seem to get to the heart of the kind of anxiety, fear, insecurity, and unwillingness that an inbreaking of the divine order can cause within us when we receive a calling that feels too big, too demanding, or unwelcome. This is the face and demeanor of any of us when we're informed that our lives are going to change in a radical way. Who is this? Tanner. Henry Tanner. What's the era? Do you know? 20th century. African-American artist. Oh, it says 1895. Okay, no, so but again, I'm not sure how I feel about this. This feels maybe like I'm not up to the task. That human response. Oh, poor Mary. Look at her there. Very, very freaked out. Withdrawn. So pale. That's Dante Gabriel Rossetti. and also the flaming red hair, which is usually reserved for depictions of Mary Magdalene, the Magdalene. So very interesting. No one has to greet the angel with open arms and a perfect attitude. The Bible suggests, through its many stories of human encounter with the divine, that actually to do that would not be human. Not fully and believably so anyway. Here in the flesh is all that we can know. We're not angels ourselves, and when they break into our lives with their demands, we do what we can to take up the calling. I'll let Mary have the last word, the real words attributed to her by the gospel author Luke. In case you thought that maybe all she managed to do in that moment of holy encounter was to ask some questions and exhibit anxiety, nope. Here is what the ancients reported Mary to have said. You may have never heard this because it is radical and it is revolutionary. I want us to hear what she says in the light of this last few days, in light of what our Congress in this supposedly Christian nation is doing to the poor, the powerless, the vulnerable. Here is what Miriam, a poor Jewish girl who lived under Roman occupation, responded, so says tradition, to the angel who told her that she had a part to play in world history and in a changing social order. Here is what she said. My soul magnifies the Lord. In other words, God and I are in harmony. I'm good with that. And my spirit rejoices in God, my Savior. Because he, God, has regarded the lowliness of his handmaid. For behold, henceforth all generations shall call me blessed. I'm not a nobody, and I know that now. Because he, God who is mighty, has done great things for me, and holy is God's name. And God's mercy is from generation to generation on those who fear him or respect and have reverence for God. God has shown might with his arm. He has scattered the proud and in the conceit of their heart. He has put down the mighty from their thrones and has exalted the lowly. God has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich God has sent away empty. God has given help to Israel, his servant, mindful of his mercy, even as he spoke to our fathers, to Abraham, and to his posterity forever. Mary, you see, understands the nature of ultimate reality to be concerned with mercy, compassion. She understands it to be more powerful than governments and the elites that support them. Mary understands the holy to be a force that dispenses justice and equity. She understands to be a covenanting power that makes of separate individuals a people. And you know, I want you to know that so does our Unitarian and Universalist tradition make the same theological claims. And I want you to know that she belongs to us as much as she belongs to any other faith tradition. And I want you to know that her courageous and empowered yes to the profound calling of the holy, in breaking into her life, can be our yes too. May it be so. In the name of Miriam and all her children and her children's children, faithful people who respond to the inconvenient and demanding call, generation unto generation.